Okay. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another day of lockdown lessons. Today's lesson, I'd like to build on everything that we've done in the week. So it's going to be kind of like an amalgam of everything that we've done, kind of integrating different elements into one specific movement. So hopefully you've done some of the lessons earlier this week. If you haven't, don't worry, you can do this one. And maybe if you want to go back and do some of the earlier stages, please feel free to do so. I also just want to say a massive thanks to everyone that has watched and anyone who's donated as well. It's really like I've been away for a few months and it's really nice to see that people are interested in watching and are getting something from these lessons. It kind of inspires me to use my time in this way. So I'm really grateful to all of you. If there's any particular lessons that you like, or you'd like to suggest something, a topic for a coming week, please do put it in the comments. I'm really open to hearing feedback from you guys. Okay. So today's lesson is going to be about something that we did relatively, I think, right at the beginning of the week, to do with reaching. So what I want you to do is just to bring one arm up. And I can't really show you in this. I have to go all the way back, but bring one arm up and then just see how high you can reach. See where your arm reaches. How comfortable does it feel? What happens in your shoulder? I'm going to do it from here. So as you reach, you run into a couple of different issues straight away. One is that obviously your arm is a certain length, and obviously your body is organized in a specific way. So just see, like, if you kind of extend right to the tips, right to the end of your fingertips, kind of how does it feel in your system? Do you get to the point where it's like there's an obvious limit? There's an obvious sense of restriction, and that's as far as you can reach, okay? And just try it a couple of times. Just reach up, kind of feel that sense of restriction and come back. We're not going to push through it. I don't want you to do anything that's kind of like pushing against anything that's painful or difficult. Come back as soon as you kind of get to a point where it starts to kind of feel sticky. Yesterday we were talking about peanut butter. So if it starts to feel like coarse peanut butter, like go in the other direction. And then come down. And come up again and just reach. Okay, good. So that's reaching, and hopefully you did that with the right hand. If you didn't and you did it with the left, do the opposite one now. I did that with my right hand. I'm going to swap over and do it with my left hand. And, you know, as I'm reaching, what I'm doing is I'm taking the fingertips as high as possible. Just kind of really going to the end of my range of this movement. Because it's StreamYard, I can't see some of the names because I'm in a separate program. So if you haven't allowed StreamYard access to your Facebook, then just put your name in the comments as well if you can, so I can see who's tuning in. So as you reach up with your second hand, just again feel where do you sense the restriction? Like, why does it stop at a specific point? What is the kind of the mechanism that's like keeping that from going any further? For me, I feel that in my ribs. Good. All right. So that's how you reach, and we're gonna look into that in a few different ways now. Oh, hi, Mom. So yeah, go back to your first arm, and as you reach up, what I want you to do is very gently just begin to look up at your hand. So we did a lesson earlier in the week that was taking the head backwards. Hi, Louise. Taking the head backwards. And what I want you to do is, as you reach up, just allow the head to come backwards and the eyes to come up, to follow the hand, to follow the fingers. As you reach up, follow the hand with the eyes. And just feel, does that change in some way the relationship? Does that change the dynamics of reaching slightly? What does it introduce? Just looking up with the head. Hi, Sanjay Kim from South Korea. So as you reach up and you're taking your head backwards, what does it change? What's the difference from when you reached without looking up to now reaching with looking up? If you want a little tip, if you want some kind of pointer as to what it changes, think about the difference between the front of your body and the back of your body. Hi, Osibo. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, and come down. Great. Charles, I noticed, am I right in thinking that you're on the current London training, or you're doing one of the new Feldenkrais trainings? I was really pleased to hear about that. Okay, and then we take the left hand and you reach up very gently with the left hand, and as you're reaching up, take your head upwards to look towards the hand. That's great news, Charles. Really good. I'd love to talk to you about it. Let me know how you're getting on. So as you're reaching up and you're taking your head backwards, your eyes are looking towards your hands, and maybe you can notice a difference between what's happening with your left arm and what happened with your right arm when you reached. We are, of course, most of us have a dominant arm, and perhaps we use that dominant arm to do more of our daily tasks. So it might be easier to reach with your right hand than it is with your left hand. But check in yourself, see what's easier for you. Good. So you're just taking the head backwards, allowing the hands to come up, reaching toward maybe as high as you can comfortably. Great. Yeah, definitely like to talk to you about internal martial arts and Feldenkrais. Okay. So the next thing I'd like to do is another thing that we did at the beginning of the week, which was turning the head. So just a few times, let your arms relax for a bit, or take a break from the arms, and just turn the head a few times to the left and a few times to the right. Again, it's really key to turning the head in a comfortable way, that you're sitting well on your sitting bones. If you're sitting well on your sitting bones, then the whole structure of the spine coming into the pelvis is going to be a lot more supportive, and the muscles of the body are going to be able to relax more. So as you're sitting comfortably on your sitting bones, all the weight of the body is coming through the skeleton, supporting you, and then the muscles are freer to move. So if you feel like your neck is a bit tight, maybe think about how you're sitting as an initial step. So just turning the head a few times to the left and a few times to the right. Okay. So now what I want you to do is go back to reaching, but as you reach up, I want you to turn your head away from the arm that's reaching. Turn your head away from the arm that's reaching. So I'm reaching with my right arm, and my left, and my head is turning to the left. And maybe what you can notice as you do this, as you turn your head to the left, that the right shoulder will come slightly forwards. Okay, the right shoulder will come slightly forwards, and maybe even the left shoulder will come slightly backwards. So again, we're just incorporating the different things that we did earlier in the week. And you feel that as you reach up in this way, maybe that creates a different sense of length. How does it feel? Where is the extra space generated from now? Turning the head round to the left as I reach up to the right. Good, and take a rest. Take the left arm up, and you're going to reach up with the left arm. At the same time, you're going to turn your head to the right. reaching up with the left arm, turning your head to the right. And if you want a little clue as to why this maybe gives you a little extra length in the reach as well, think about what your shoulder blade is doing. And keep breathing if you can. Keep breathing. The word I used this morning, aspiring arms, the etymology, the root of the word aspire is to breathe. So we think of it as aspirational. So we want to do something, we want to achieve something, we aspire to it. But part of the root of that word is actually just to breathe. So if you want to be able to do something, you need to be able to breathe as you do it. Good. Bring your left arm down, take a rest. Hopefully that's not too much work on the arms and the shoulders. Hopefully everyone's all right. But if there's any kind of issues, you can always put them down in the comment if you're finding anything difficult. Good. All right, next variation. Bring your right arm up, bring your right arm up, again as to reach. Take your head so that your left ear goes towards your left shoulder. Take your head so that your left ear, so I'm reaching up with my right arm, your left ear goes towards your left shoulder. So again, you can notice that my two shoulders, one is going up and the other one is going down. Yeah, so there's a kind of coordinated shoulder element to this, which is something that we did in yesterday's lesson or the day before. Good. Once you've done it a few times on that side, try the other side. So now I've got my left arm raised. I'm reaching towards the ceiling with my left arm. At the same time, I'm going to take my right ear towards my right shoulder. And again, notice where the extra length in reaching comes from. And if you want a kind of a clue or a hint as to where to look, I would look in your ribs. See if there's any difference in what the ribs are doing on the left side and what the ribs are doing on the right side. And maybe you even notice, and this is something I think we did in yesterday's lesson, you even notice a slight weight shift, a slight change in your position so that more weight is coming down into one sitting bone or the other. Good. All right, let's take a little rest. I'm sure people's arms need a rest after all of that. Okay, so if you just a few times just lift your right shoulder and drop it down, just lift your right shoulder and drop it down, and see if you can feel as you lift your right shoulder and you drop it down, what's happening with your shoulder blade at the back of your body. So we'll take a little break from reaching just to give everyone's arms a rest. But as you move your shoulder up and down, can you feel what your shoulder blade is doing behind you? Good. Take a rest with the right shoulder and do the same thing with the left shoulder. And you feel that the shoulder blade is just kind of sliding up and sliding down. Sliding up and sliding down. Sliding up. I think I started the beginning of this week kind of talking about how we don't often give much of our attention to the back of our body because our senses are forward focused or forward facing for the most part. Even our ears, they kind of point forward slightly. It means that we pay slightly less attention to what's going on behind us, and that includes the back of the body. So as you do this movement of the shoulder, just bring your attention to what's going on in your shoulder blade, instead of the point of the shoulder or the front of the chest. Good. All right. Then what I want you to do is take your right shoulder forwards, take your right shoulder forwards, and see if you can feel that the shoulder blade is sliding out away from the spine. So there's a movement of the shoulder blade. It's like your kind of shoulder blades are getting wider, or just one. Just see it. You take your right shoulder forwards and you can feel that the shoulder blade slides out away from the spine. Away from the spine. And then if you bring the right shoulder backwards, can you feel that the shoulder blade moves back inwards towards the spine? So just play with that movement. Just the right shoulder moving forwards and backwards. As it moves forwards, it slides away from the spine. As it moves backwards, it slides towards the spine. Just feeling how the spine and the shoulders are communicating. Good. And then try the same thing with the left shoulder. So start just by taking the left shoulder forwards, and see if you can feel that the left shoulder blade slides out. And then once you've done that, take the left shoulder forwards and backwards, feeling this kind of moving away from the spine and moving towards the spine. Good. And maybe you could integrate both shoulders into this process. So as one shoulder moves forwards, the other moves backwards. One comes towards the spine, one goes away, and then the opposite. One goes away, and one comes towards. So you can feel the movement of the shoulders in relation to the spine. Good. It's like a shoulder blade exercise. Like you're taking your shoulder blades to the gym. Okay. Take a rest from that and just notice how your shoulders are sitting. Notice how you're sitting on your sitting bones. Did you keep breathing throughout that process? And when you're ready, lift your arm to the ceiling, your right arm to the ceiling, and just reach up as high as you can. Just reach up and notice, does your body adjust to this movement now? Does it give you a different sense of movement to reach up? So we did different variations where we looked at different things that you can do with the head, different movements. But just as you reach up, does it naturally kind of accommodate the movement? Does your body naturally make space for it? Try with the other side. Again, going up with the left arm, and just notice what your body does. Does it accommodate this movement in a way that it wasn't earlier? Good. All right. So a couple more things that we need to do. Someone's put an amazed emoji on there, which I'm hoping is a good thing. So if you lift your right arm up, okay? And what I want you to do is, how are we going to do it? I'm just thinking, sorry. Yeah, perfect. All right. So what I want you to do is you're going to lift your right arm up. You're going to take your left ear towards your left shoulder. At the same time, you're going to look up to your hand. Okay. So now what you're doing is you're introducing a slight rotation in the body. You're going to look up towards your right hand and you're going to bring it back down, and just bring the hand in front of you and look down towards that hand. So look up, and down. up, letting the head tilt as you look up towards the hand, and coming down and looking down into the hand. It's kind of like you're tucking down the arm. Looking up, coming down. So now there's kind of like an interesting rotation in the body. Okay, and let that go. And we'll just do that on the other side as well. So lift up the left arm, lift up the left arm. Again, what I want you to do is take your right ear towards your right shoulder. Look up towards the hand. Don't worry if as you do this, the hand rotates. So earlier, the first lesson, we were working with rotation in the arms. If you feel that as you do this movement, your arm rotates to facilitate greater reach, that's okay. And then notice as you come down to the downwards position, does it rotate in a different way? This is kind of really incorporating a spiral movement throughout the body. Jose. Hi, Jose. So you notice as I'm doing this, it's not just the eyes moving or the head moving. I'm also taking the back of my head backwards, which is something else that we were doing in the beginning of the lesson. Okay, so taking my head backwards. And last thing I'd like you to concentrate on, and maybe you can play with this doing one side and then the other, that you are changing what you're doing with your sitting bones. Okay, so as I'm rotating around to look towards my left hand, what sitting bone are you sitting on? And then as I'm turning around to look at my right hand, what sitting bone are you sitting on? And just play with it. Do it a couple of times for yourself. Notice that your body adjusts for this reaching movement now. It creates space in a way that it wasn't earlier. When we were just sitting there and I asked you to reach the first time, it was very linear, very kind of like a anatomy textbook. You know, I am a robot. I just move in this plane and this plane. Whereas actually now, you know, if you're reaching for something, you've got all this range to find within you. It's like, where can I get a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more? Good. If you want, you can have both arms up and you can reach with one and then reach with the other. You can think a bit about this like climbing. Reaching up with one, reaching up with the other, as if you're climbing upwards. Good. And bring your arms down. Just for your own sake, lift one arm and just see how that feels now. Lift another arm and see how that feels on. Just feel how light your arms are in comparison with when you started the lesson. I can feel a remarkable difference, for sure. My arms feel very light now. Okay, so that's this week's lessons on the arm and the arm's integration with the rest of the body. I hope people have found it useful. I hope they take their arms off today and use them well. And hopefully, if you've had any pain or you know, experiencing some issues because of lockdown and your mobility being limited, that these lessons can provide a little bit of relief for you. So yeah, I'd love to hear from you in the comments how it was, what you noticed, if you felt any changes in your arms, and it's kind of worthwhile doing them again. You know, if you've got time, maybe over the weekend, if you like particular one of the lessons this week, why not do it again? I will be back on Monday morning, 11 o'clock UK time. You'll have to translate that for your own time zone. I have a class, a Tai Chi and Qigong class that I run on Sunday morning. If you're interested in that, please let me know. I also have a full Feldenkrais hour-long class on Monday evenings. Again, if you're interested, let me know. I really recommend taking this into a full hour-long lesson. I try and do these lessons at the same time in sitting, but the hour-long Feldenkrais lessons are often in lying down or in different positions, and they provide a kind of a slightly more in-depth taste of the Feldenkrais method. Okay, so thank you all for watching. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Thank you again for any donations you've made. I really appreciate that. And I will see you back here on Monday. All right, take care. Bye.